Hey everybody, and welcome to this Thursday's MBE Movie News, where I, John, of course, speak about, hopefully, an array of very intriguing topics from the world of Hollywood and beyond. Today, as you probably gathered from that thumbnail, I will be primarily speaking about Aladdin 2 officially having a sequel from Disney. Now, this has been reported from, I do believe, Variety, and they are saying that indeed Disney will be moving ahead with plans for another Aladdin movie. Of course, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody with even a semblance of common sense in their brain. This movie made a gargantuan $1 billion plus at the box office last year. Of course, it was directed by Guy Ritchie, and it starred a really cool cast. Not just Will Smith as the genie, which felt like a role tailor-made. There was a lot of controversy and criticism flung towards Will Smith in the early promotion of the movie last year. Of course, it wasn't Will Smith who was being criticised, it was the CG and it looking a little bit fake, a little MS Paint, if you'd like to coin an early 2000s term. But as a side to Will Smith, Naomi Scott was absolutely fantastic, Mina Massoud was great, and the Dutch boy who played, obviously, Jafar was fantastic as well. I was about to say Jofi Jaffa there, but I think that's the king in Coming to America. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm excited for this. I really enjoyed Aladdin. It was my favourite. I'll take that back immediately. It was my favourite Disney animated remake from last year. I didn't mind The Lion King. I thought the criticism that got was a little harsh. I thought Jon Favreau did a real good job of trying to balance a remake with this realistic CGI. I really enjoyed that movie. I didn't like Dumbo as much. I thought it was okay, but Tim Burton didn't seem to mesh his directing style with the Disney ways. Guy Ritchie, though, incredibly managed to put some of his trademark style onto it. I really enjoyed the performances he got out of the cast. I liked the humour in parts. And I thought it was a decent little remake of a classic movie which I grew up watching as a child. What could they do with what could they do with a sequel? Well, they do say in this article, and I wasn't aware of this when I was younger, that there was some animated sequels, straight to DVD sequels of the original Aladdin. I don't believe they're following that route with this one, because as they do rightly say at the end of this article, and many people have seen and said it, I included, this ended very differently to the 1990s Aladdin, this 2019 remake. Each primary character, obviously Aladdin and Jasmine and the genie, had different endings in this movie to what we've seen previously, and that really opened the door for Disney to go off and do something distinctly different with each character's individual arcs, if you'd like. We could have had a situation where all three had spin-off movies. I think Naomi Scott is talented enough in terms of singing, dancing, performer and actress to go off and do her own Jasmine standalone movie. I know Will Smith is talented enough to go off and do a standalone genie movie. This humanised genie, I don't know how that would work, because he has gave up the life of being a genie. He was freed from the genie bottle, or the lamp, if you want to call it. I'm a genie in a bottle. I'm thinking about Christina Aguilera there. Giving away my age here. With obviously Aladdin at the end of the movie, so I could see him doing his own movie. And Mina Massoud is a great young actor, and I spoke about this guy 3-4 months ago, and I think he was complaining that he hadn't got any auditions, and he was not being offered enough roles after his starring role in Aladdin, and that really disappointed me and surprised me, because I thought that he was a really talented young actor. So I would be all for having these three having individual stories if there's enough meat to the bones of potential scripts. Likewise, I wouldn't mind seeing the three coming back again if they can somehow get these three people back together. If Will Smith's schedule isn't busier than usual, or busy enough, I would be all for all three coming back again and maybe having a new adventure in Agrabah. One positive about this, before I move on, I don't want to speak the hind legs off it, is that it would be something truly unique. It isn't a retelling of a previous story, and that may go some ways to silencing some of the criticism that Disney has had from the fan base and critics alike, that they are not really harnessing the originality that made Disney what it was in the 40s, 50s and onwards. They were the pioneers of creating animated stories and new wondrous worlds and characters, and they seem to lose their way at some point. I understand that there is a rhyme and reason to what they're doing. You make massive amounts of money for a minimalistic approach to script. Just redo the old movies and put a new lick of paint on it. Bring it up to the 21st century for a new demographic who wouldn't consume the old cartoon style. And you make your money anyway, so I can understand why they're doing it. But this is a chance for them to maybe flex some originality in terms of visual, metaphorical muscles and give us a new story in Agrabah with the same characters. I'm well on board for it. Excited to see what news comes out of this. Can they get Guy Ritchie back? Lord knows, I'd be very surprised if they do. That man is doing some real original stuff now. Love the gentleman. But guys, I will move on to the second topic on today's show, and it's all about Fantastic Beasts 3. Confirmed to be starting filming soon, and there will be a return for one specific character. The character is Eddie Redmayne's Newt Scamander's brother, who is Theseus, I think his name is. He is confirmed to be returning. Callum Turner, who played him, did an interview with someone. I can't find who it was. It was Yahoo Movies UK. He spoke with them and he confirmed that he is indeed coming back. He doesn't know what the role will encompass as of now, because obviously his character was heavily linked to Zoe Kravitz's Lestrange character, Lita Lestrange. She passed away at the end of this movie. I'm sorry, my Labrador is currently chewing on something. I will kindly remove it from his mouth, and then we'll get back to speaking about Lita Lestrange. His character was linked to her fate, if you like, with her passing away seemingly at the end, at the hands of, obviously, Grindelwald. There was a talk that he may be superfluous to future stories, but no, he is coming back, and he's very excited for it. He's very excited to see what the role will entice. He is obviously confirmed that the movie is starting shooting very, very soon. This article and this interview took place in the middle of January, so they've done their sums here, cinema blend, and they have came to the conclusion that this movie may be shooting as close as a month away. Yeah, late February shooting, so later on this month I should say. So it's all very exciting. Dan Fogler has been out speaking about this. He says that it had been delayed, that obviously he is excited as well. He's half the man that he was in the original. He's lost a lot of weight. Hopefully he's not lost the charm and the comedic flair which has made his character, obviously Jacob Kowalski, so enticing a watch in these movies. I am very excited for this movie. There has been some interference and some voices of, how shall I put it, doubt from the studio. They have brought on another writer to supplement also J.K. Rowling's talents. They weren't happy with the performance of The Crimes of Grindelwald, and they now want to go down a different route. And we have heard from the likes of Dan Fogler that this movie will be twice the size of The Crimes of Grindelwald. It is going to be visiting the exotic locales of Rio de Janeiro. It will spend more time in Hogwarts, and it will be going to Ilvermorny, I want to say it's called, the US School of Wizardry and Witchcraft. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I really like Ezra Miller in this, Credence Barebones, and obviously he has now got a connection to Albus Dumbledore. I love Jude Law in the movie. I really like Johnny Depp's take on Grindelwald, even though people wanted him removed from the franchise for perceived domestic abuse, which has now been proven to be actually Amber Heard who was doing it. So I want to see him continue. Really excited for this movie. Hopefully it builds upon the sort of branching out experience it was Grindelwald, The Crimes of Grindelwald. Wasn't a great movie, full with exposition and whatnot. Felt a little bit bloated, but it set up the wider universe. We are going to have more movies in this universe. I can't wait to see what the hell they do next. I can't wait to see more of Albus Dumbledore and this very tenuous link he has, or more than tenuous. It was presumed that there was an almost romantic link with obviously Grindelwald, so I cannot wait to see where it goes. But guys, I have not got much more to say about it on that note, because it's just one guy speaking to Yahoo from a month ago. So I will move on to the next topic, coming in from an unlikely source, GameSpot. And they're speaking about Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's the roundup of the early reviews for this movie, which is, I believe, is currently holding a rated fresh 70 on Rotten Tomatoes just now from 42 reviews. I'll probably get down. I reckon this movie will sit round about the 60% mark. But look, surprisingly, not all negative on the front of one Sonic the Hedgehog. GameSpot themselves gave it an 8 out of 10. They says that as adaptations go, Sonic the Hedgehog is among the stronger ones. It's smart enough to stand on its own, making use of long-standing aspects of Sega's Supersonic mascot and his franchise. They say that what really shines through are its characters. The restraint goes a long way to making Sonic the Hedgehog a light, funny movie, and while it definitely skews young, long-time Sonic fans should have just as much fun seeing the blue blah on the big screen. I grew up playing Sonic on my Sega gaming console in the 90s. Love the character, not as much as Mario, but I really was impressed by the director's gumption to go away and rework the aesthetics of this movie. He wasn't happy with what had played out, and he went away and they delayed the movie, and I'm glad to see that it seems to be getting reasonably positive, if not middling in the main reviews. It's not a complete car crash, and he's been vindicated to obviously bring this movie back. IGN says, make no mistake, this frantically paced film is made first and foremost for Sonic fans. If you've been there for a little blue fella these past 29 years, as I have, from his humble beginnings on the Sega Genesis to his current iteration, this Sonic the Hedgehog is the love letter you've probably been looking for. Maybe save your gold rings. Look, I liked the concept of James Marsden being in there. He's an interesting guy, decent actor. Jim Carrey, the guy's at his best when he's hamming it up and overacting. Let's be honest, he does drama so well. But I want to see some Jim from the 90s, and this is like a movie right out of that Pet Ace Ventura, Pet Detective era of acting from Jim. And by all accounts, he is a big, strong and plus point in this movie. And on form, Jim Carrey can't stop Sonic's live action debut from feeling like a missed opportunity. If the T sequels do materialise, here's hoping the storytelling goes up a level. That's from Empire. Some are hard to please. But like, computer or video games never really adapt well to movies, so if we get something that's even resembling a middling experience, then it's a win. Let's be honest, we have had a real hard time as gaming fans with having to watch terrible adaptations on the big screen. This looks like it's doing okay. USA Today, the film is fine, familiar fare for gamers and children, Sonic sprints, Kerry mugs, but the creative juices run out quickly. That's quite sad. I'm willing to give this a chance though. I don't know about anyone who's perhaps watching this. I am willing to give it a chance just to see Mr. Jim at his best, hamming it up. AV Club, finally, I will say they have not given it a score, but they've said you could call Sonic the Hedgehog a wannabe E.T. Don't know what to make of that, except that might require imagining a version of Steven Spielberg's classic where the extraterrestrial flosses make bad Uber jokes and lectures Elliot about not appreciating what he already has. It is very long and winded. But I digress. I do say that it is above the low bar of your average video game adaptation. So all in all, really intrigued by this movie. I liked the visual makeover in the last trailer. I like the concept of them following this route of maybe a Pokemon Detective Pikachu, maybe following the route of a Paddington, or what was the other one? The rabbit one. I forgot the goddamn name already. It doesn't even matter. Just following that concept of live action, mingling with CGI elements, and if it's done well and it's middling, then I'll probably go out and watch it just to reward that director for having the balls to go away and rework it. But look guys, I will move on to the final topic on today's news section of the show, and it's coming in from Screen Rant, and it's all about Avengers Endgame scoring an Oscars record that no one wants. It's very unenviable. Essentially, Avengers Endgame, if you haven't been keeping up with the news, if you've been living under a rock for the last couple of months at least, only scored one nomination at the 92nd Academy Awards, and that was for Best Visual Effects. Hit and The Rise of Skywalker and The Lion King were coming up against some lesser visual behemoths in the like of maybe a 1917. Of course, 1917 won the Oscar. And what that meant for Avengers Endgame was that it is the first highest grossing movie of all time to not win an Academy Award. Subsequently afterwards, I don't know what that means, guys. I'm hypoing on a birthday cake at the moment, so please bear with me. But yeah, I mean, disappointing is what I would say, but not unexpected, as they do say in other articles, and I know this anyway, being a film fan, the Academy is really reticent to dishing out awards to popular movies. They are more drawn to drama and historical pieces, and of course 1917 being a fantastic movie, which didn't get all that much love at the Oscars anyway in terms of big categories, had to be flung a bone somewhere. It deserved some Oscars, and it of course got it for visual effects, and I am not doing down 1917 here. The visual effects were stunning. The way that Roger Deakins worked in harmony with Sam Mendes to give us a really authentic one continuous shot feel in this movie. It was such a big part of the consumption of this movie, going along in this journey with Schofield and Blake from beginning to the end. And just the way they implemented visual effects, cutaways of houses and whatnot, and just really cool little tricks, fully deserve to be rewarded with an Oscar come award season. I can't help but feel a little bit sorry for these. There must be a massive team of people working at Disney Marvel who work on the visual effects in these movies, just monstrous productions, and they're recreating whole sequences, whole characters who don't even exist. They recreated the suits the Avengers wore going into obviously the quantum realm to go back in time. So it was a real labour of love, a lot of hard work, blood, sweat and tears went into it, and it does feel almost tragic that a movie of that scale and of that brilliance from a visual standpoint didn't get its just desserts at the Oscars. But there's some fans who went way over the top and says it deserved a Best Picture nomination, it deserved a Best Director nomination. No, it didn't. No, it did not. So much competition this year in terms of movies. Endgame, as good as it was as an action experience, as a culmination of the MCU and the obviously the Infinity Saga, was never going to go toe to toe with a 1917, a Joker, a Parasite, a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or The Irishman. Way too much competition this year. Way bloated to such an extent. Films like Dolomite Is My Name, Uncut Gems, and Little Women, and the other one I always forget, the one with A24 one, The Lighthouse as well, was another one. So much so that they didn't even get a look in that category. So no, look, I feel sorry for it. It's a harsh record for it to take. Obviously times have changed since James Cameron was doing his Avatar and Titanic, and those were distinctly different and pioneering movies anyway to this one. Times have changed though, the Academy has changed and skewed itself away from rewarding popular movies, and of course it famously never rewarded Avatar anyway. I think it gave it to James Cameron's ex-wife for Hurt Locker, so they like to deliver a swift boot to the balls, do the Academy, to big movies like this. But look guys, I am done speaking about Avengers Endgame. It is in the past. We're moving on to Eternals and Black Widow and whatnot. It's a new phase, a new era, and on that note I'm going to move on to the future as well in this show and speak about the blog rundown. It's going to be a more streamlined version of the blog rundown this week and going forward, because to be quite frank with you, we are miles behind on this blog rundown. I am talking about movies from mid-December and we're now moving into mid-February. I'm 2 months behind. I can't possibly catch up, so I'll just briefly run through what the review is, who's reviewed it, what the film is and who's reviewed it, and then we will crack onwards to the end of the show. The first one this week is coming in from the brilliant as ever DM Anderson. He's a fantastic writer. Highly urge you to go along to our blog on our website at movieburnerentertainment.org, and it's Freaks. It's a movie directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Steen. Stars Emil Hirsch, really good actor, Bruce Dern and Grace Park. It's all about a young 7-year-old being shut in her entire life, being kept in a rundown old house by obsessively protective father, and also it just follows that story. DM really enjoyed it. It's a sort of Brightburn version of the X-Men. She is this strange mutant, super evolved young child, and I'm intrigued by that. I really enjoyed Brightburn and what I think it's James Gunn's brother or something produced. I can't recall who directed that movie, but I really enjoyed that concept of a different telling of a sort of comic book genre movie, and I'm intrigued by it. So I highly urge you to go and watch Dave's review. But on that note, I'm going to read Dave's review, not watch. That's impossible. But on that note, guys, I shall move on to the second review on today's blog rundown. It is the Prodigy, a movie which I have seen, and this one's being reviewed by Peter Plowmers, another fantastic writer. And this one is all about a murderous little child with some nefarious antics going on under the surface, and a loving mother who sees nothing but good in them. I can't speak too long about it, but I took similar vibes to Peter from this movie. It was slightly predictable, but it was an easily digestible movie. He's right, and it was an entertaining, decent little horror movie in the main. It was okay. I think we reacted to the trailer for it, and I was intrigued by it then, and that's ultimately what got me to watch it. And I'm a sucker for horror movies, and I'm a sucker for movies of that ilk, because Peter does say it's almost like Damien in The Woman. I've watched all the Woman movies, and Brightburn, as I said. Nefarious little shit's getting up to no good, right up my street. Next review though, guys, is coming from Philip Henry, and this will tell you how far back we are on the blog rundown. It's Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, Philip, I think, shares a similar viewpoint to this movie to me. I recall reading this fantastic review 2 months ago, and he didn't understand the almost vitriolic criticism of this movie, and I didn't either. JJ had such a hard time trying to round up the mess that was Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, and then get in and round up Carrie Fisher's tragic passing, and then move on to tackle his own story and round up the sequel trilogy in a manner which felt fitting and almost, I don't know, fulfilling to the fan base. Some hated it, some merely liked it, some loved it. Philip really enjoyed the utilisation of humour and just the Easter eggs and fan service as a whole in this movie. He thought it was decent, it was fun, exciting, full of drama and emotion, and yeah, I agree with him. I thought it was okay. It wasn't amazing. It's not near my top 3, which is still the original trilogy, Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, but it's better than The Last Jedi, let's just say that, and Attack of the Clones. But look, guys, I'm going to quickly move on and try and battle through a couple more of these reviews. I urge you to go and read these reviews if you want to get the full meat and bones of what these brilliant chaps have got to say. Next one is coming in from D.M. Anderson, and it's all about the now Oscar winning actress Renée Zellweger and her fantastic performance in the movie Judy, which is of course about Judy Garland. Now, I haven't seen this, but it is a period piece biopic about Judy Garland. Who would believe it? Apparently Renée was absolutely magnificent, and yeah, she won an Oscar for it. Dave really did enjoy this. He says that she has already won a few awards for her performance, as well as a Golden Globe nomination. At this point, yet another Oscar nod appears to be in the bag. You were right, Dave. She got an Oscar nomination, and she won for that Oscar nomination. And he says that Renée Zellweger gave Judy a real poignant punch, and needed to make it memorable. So look, I have to watch that movie. I'm miles behind on my movies. As you can tell, I'm miles behind on this blog rundown as well. And on that note, I shall move on to the 5th and final review on today's blog rundown. We will be tackling 5 a week now. Try and catch up. This one's Cold Blood, and it's coming in from Peter Plowmers, and it is starring the likes of Jean Reno, Sarah Lynn Joe Anderson, directed by Frederic Pettigene. Now, Peter doesn't like this movie. I think that's been a little bit understated, to say the least. He says that it is despicably bad, abominably bad, I should say, to say the least. The story is terribly boring and not interesting, and despite some really good performances in there, it's just not enough to redeem this utter pile of shit. So, what a way to round up this week's blog rundown. Once again, I should urge anyone who is intrigued to be reading these reviews, and maybe intrigued by the movies that I've spoke about, and you're wondering if you can maybe get a different voice from what you've read, then go along to our blog rundown and read all of the array of fantastic reviews we have on there. You will not be disappointed if you're a fan of film. And on that note, guys, I'm going to round up today's show, because I'm done speaking. I've spoke the hind legs off just about everything on this show today, so much so that I think my voice is beginning to lose itself. What is your thoughts on Aladdin 2 finally getting a greenlit sequel from Disney? Do you think this is a sign of maybe renewed originality from the studio? Do you care about it? If you have anything to say about it, you can comment below. What's your thoughts on Fantastic Beasts 3 beginning shooting at the end of this month, potentially? What's your thoughts on Callum Turner coming back as Newt Scamander's brother? Do you have anything to say about Sonic the Hedgehog and or Avengers Endgame having an unenviable Oscar record in the bag? If you've got anything to say at all, you can comment below and let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, and if you do, then you will see me again tomorrow with Stephen for a review of Bong Joon-ho's magnificent Parasite.